very excited to bring onto the program now, as promised, my friend William Jacobson, a law professor at Cornell Law School and the author of an awesome blog, Legal Insurrection. It's a leading conservative politics and law blog. I'm delighted to have been added to the blog roll there, and I'm even more delighted that he has been kind and generous enough to share some of his time on a Sunday. Professor Jacobson, welcome to the Teri O'Brien Show.
Thank you, Teri. It's great to be here.
Oh, how awesome. I love your blog. But, you're going to have to explain to me how you find the time to post so often, because I go all the time and you've got new postings. And do you just post like from your iPhone or your BlackBerry all day, or how do you make that happen?
Well, no, I usually do it from a desktop or a laptop. I can't really use these handheld PDAs very well. So, and I think I would totally mess things up if I did. No, just as I'm sitting around doing other things, if something comes up, I'll just do a quick post on it. Some of the posts are a little more in-depth. Those I'll do usually, the night before or early in the morning, which is my preferred time at, 6 in the morning. Just do a post and schedule it to run later in the day. So, it's a variety of things, but it does get somewhat time-consuming.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. I love Legal Insurrection. You guys, go to legalinsurrection.com. You will love it. And there's a video of the day, and there's just so many cool things on here. But we've got so much to talk about. I'm looking at Legal Insurrection right now, and I don't know if you heard me at the top of the program. I was talking about the yanking of this omnibus spending bill the other day on Thursday night. And I note here a recent posting that you have on your blog, although it was posted by Kathleen McCaffrey. I think she's one of your contributors, talking about this Kennedy project. Now, more money to Kennedy projects, and this is talking about $30 million for the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the U.S. Senate. What the heck? Why are we giving federal money to establish or I guess we're not now, but why was that even considered to build a monument to Ted Kennedy? I don't get it.
Well, I think that's what earmarks are all about. They're, in many cases, just building monuments to people. So various senators will have things named after themselves, or they'll have things named after prior senators or governors or political, favorites. So, that's one of the problems with the whole earmark system, is that it's a way to buy things that nobody would otherwise really want to buy with their tax dollars.
Yeah, that's right. It's what people have called the gateway drug to all this reckless spending. And I really think that if a person is going into what's supposed to be, what's laughingly called public service, because they want to build monuments themselves, I think that should just be disqualifying, just right out of the box. In fact, I think we should ask all candidates now. I know right now, in the current climate, of course, everybody's just, earmarks are just like radioactive. No one will touch them. But I think going forward, as we forget about it, we should just not forget about it. I think we should ask our candidates, do you support the idea of taking money from productive taxpayers to build monuments to politicians? Because if you do, I think you need to find another line of work.
Yeah, well, the problem with earmarks is not simply what they're building. It's that it's a very corrupting influence. And I love the way you put it, that it's kind of the gateway drug. I hadn't heard that term applied to it, but it is in many ways. It's the currency with which votes are bought. And the healthcare law is one of the prime examples. Nebraska got extra money, Louisiana got extra money. Whether those technically fit the definition of earmark really doesn't matter. The point is, that's how votes are purchased. So why don't we get back to senators and congressmen voting on the merits of a law rather than whether they can get a project for their home district, and therefore they're going to vote for something that they otherwise would not vote for. So I think that's really the corrupting influence there.
No, you can't do that, because here's the problem with that, is then they'd have to actually read it before they vote it if they're going to judge it on the merits. So see, there's the problem right there. You're expecting them to read it before they vote on it? What is wrong with you? Now, something you've got on your blog here that's interesting, a recent posting called Down for the Count, and it's talking about an article on the Forbes website about the population shift from blue states to red states and how this may not bode well for Barack Obama's reelection chances in 2011. But what's interesting to me, and you probably observed this as well, did you find it as hilarious as I did to watch members of the mainstream media celebrating the passage of this tax compromise when, in fact, the tax compromise represented, number one, a monumental breaking of a campaign promise by Barack Obama, number one. And number two, a breaking of another promise in which he said, remember when he said he'd allow the American people 5 days to review any law after it was passed before he signed it? Well, so much for that. That went out the window, too. And both of these were broken promises, and yet it was being celebrated as, oh, such a great political victory, and, oh, it's just, isn't it wonderful, swoon, swoon, swoon. So.
Well, I think you're seeing the beginning of the 2012 election, and the media is falling into line behind him. I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. They're going to present what substantively was a complete defeat and capitulation for him as a victory. And I think that, again, this is just part of the problem, you know, and I think that because he still has the media behind him, you know, this sort of situation can, you know, be a benefit to him. And I think, you know, Charles Krauthammer wrote a piece about how this is, you know, he's now the comeback kid. I'm not sure substantively that's really true, but this now gives the media a chance to present the new Barack Obama, the pragmatic Barack Obama, the compromising Barack Obama, you know, the only rational, level-headed person in Washington who brings everybody together. And, in fact, we've had 2 years of extreme agitation and extreme hostility from Obama towards Republicans and towards Tea Party members and towards people who opposed health care, the health care law. And, you know, and then all of a sudden, one compromise, and he's all of a sudden the comeback kid and the person who, you know, is moved to the middle. I don't see it at all. And I think he set it up in a way that I don't think he could possibly see it as that way, because he scheduled everything to expire once again in time for the next campaign. So the unemployment benefits run out, you know, in 2012. The tax rates, which are not tax cuts, but the tax rates run out in 2012, and he's setting it up again for another campaign fight.
Oh, yeah, and here we go again with the nauseating speech, another nauseating speech like that one from 2004 about there's no red America, there's no blue America. I mean, we're going to see that again. And believe me, I'm here in Chicago. I had seen that act enough, and we knew about Barack Obama. I mean, there was nothing in Barack Obama's history, nothing in his voting record, his writings, his associations, anything that could have led anybody with the slightest bit of discernment to think he was anything other than a hardwired radical leftist. There's nothing there. And then he gets up and makes this phony speech, and they all swoon. I mean, it makes me want to throw up in my mouth, frankly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's an interesting way of putting it. I didn't get quite that far with him, but I will take credit. I called him out before the election as somebody who was, one, completely overrated, two, very much into himself, to put it mildly, and three, really not somebody we knew a lot about and not somebody we could trust the media to tell us about. So, you know, I think you in Chicago knew him the best, but nobody else in the country got clued in on that because of this excessive media hype about him.